Welcome back to our Intro to Lightroom Classic series. Today, I'm going to show you how to choose your favorite images in Lightroom. Hey there and welcome to Phlearn. My name is Aaron Nace. You can find me on Phlearn.com where we make learning fun. And in today's video, we're going to show you how to choose your favorite images in Lightroom. This process is also known as culling. Lightroom is an incredible piece of software for taking a large amount of photos and narrowing it down to your select few. This is super important, especially in these days with digital cameras. It gives you the ability to take more pictures than you need, but the problem comes when you're in post-production finding that great image. So that's what today's episode is all about. You're going to learn my process for narrowing down your images. We'll show you how to search and filter your photos and show you how to take advantage of different views in Lightroom to help that process along. We got a great tutorial. Let's jump into Lightroom. So here we are in Lightroom. We're picking up where we left off in our last episode. If you haven't watched that, go ahead and do so. And if you haven't downloaded the sample images for this tutorial series, you can do that right on Phlearn.com and just follow the link right down below. So here in Lightroom, we've got all of our images into our catalog. We've organized everything by date as well as given it a name. And we went ahead and did some subcategories, showed you how to organize by, for instance, drone shots, food and beverage, sports and activities. And we showed you great places to put your output images for the web as well as your PSDs. So going back to our capture folder, these are all of the images from these are stock photos, but they're from our vacation. And now we need to go through and choose our favorites. So to start off with, there are 3 different ways of filtering your images in Lightroom Classic. You have your picks, you have your star ratings, and you have your color ratings. Now, rather than just like randomly assigning like picks and stars and flags and things like that to your images, I like to break things down into steps. First, going through and doing all my picks, then doing my star ratings, and then doing my color ratings. And by doing these in stages, it helps me to narrow down my images with each stage. So let's go ahead and jump into Lightroom. We're going to do our first round of culling. This is choosing our picks. So here in Lightroom, we're going to take a look at our photos. Now, if you want to look at your grid view, by the way, you can hit minus on your keyboard to make your images smaller or plus to make your images larger. If you want to take a look at this view and decide which are your picks, that's totally okay. But I prefer to take a look at my Loupe view. So you can click on this icon right down here on the bottom. Or if you're back in a grid view, boop, you can just double click on an image. Fantastic. Now at this point, I'm going to go through this relatively quickly. I'm casting a pretty wide net. A lot of things are going to make it into this list. So what we want to do is flag our picks. And in Lightroom, all you have to do is hit P on your keyboard for pick. Now, if you made a mistake and you want to unpick, just hit U for unpick. All right, let's go ahead and do it. So P is going to be picked. So I'm going to use the left and right arrows on my keyboard now to go through my images. You can see my film strip here on the bottom. So if I wanted to click on any one of these, I could do it. But we're just going to go to the beginning and use my left and right arrows to go through them. So I'm going to hit P and you can see that that flagged as a pick. Now, if I go to my next image, you could also just click right here, boop, on your little flag and that'll flag that as a pick. Again, you can hit U for unpick and that'll just remove your flag. And then, of course, put the flag back just with the letter P. So again, at this stage, I'm going pretty quick here. I'm, just deciding which are the images that are going to make the cut. That's awesome. Yes, of course. That sunset I like. This would be a cool background. There we go. All right. Fantastic. So you can see this is going pretty quick. Again, I'm just using my left and right arrows and hitting P on anything that I think is going to make the cut. Now, obviously, you're going to have different criteria depending on, where these images are going and what you're going to be doing with these photos. Yes, please, on this photo. So that's going to determine which of these actually get picked and which of these don't get picked. That's beautiful. So as I scroll to the right and left, that's my simple goal at this point. Fantastic. Yeah, that's pretty cool too. So I went through and I flagged a lot of these photos. So now what I need to do is move on to my next phase. So remember, 3 phases. Picks first, and then I go into my star ratings, and then I go into my color ratings. Now you don't have to do it exactly in this way if you don't want to, but this is the way that I found works for me. So we're done with our picks phase. Now it's time for phase 2, going through and giving it my star ratings. The first thing I need to do before I give my star ratings is make sure that now all I want to see is my picks, right? Everything that I didn't pick, I don't want to see that again because it's going to clog up the process, okay? So we're going to refine our view a little bit. So back here in Lightroom, let's go to our grid view. You can also hit G to get back for your grid view, okay? I'm going to hit the minus key a little bit to make my images smaller. And you can see all these white flags on my images? Those are my picks. Now, up here at the very top, I have a library filter. If you don't see that, go to View and then down to Show Filter Bar. You can also hit the slash key on your keyboard. Okay, now I'm going to click on Attribute right here. And here we can see I've got some flags, I've got some stars, and I've got some colors. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on this first flag. So when I click there, now I am only seeing my flagged photos. Okay, I can unclick that and I'm going to see all of my photos, but right now I want to see just my flagged images. Fantastic. So basically the same exact thing. I'm going to go through this list again and choose my star rated image. Now, when adding your stars, you have the choice to do 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 different stars, and you can use that however you'd like. But in this process, what I want to do is start with my picks and then my stars and then my colors. So the stars are just a way of refining a little bit more for me. So all I'm going to do is give the images that I feel are 5 stars. I'm going to give them 5 stars, and then everything else just doesn't get a star rating. So that's the plan, and we're going to use a different view to get there. This time we're going to use Survey View. So back here in Lightroom, let's just click on the top row. I'm going to click on our first image. I'm going to hold Shift and click on my last image in there, and you can see it's selecting all of those images right there. And then I'm going to go to Survey View, which is this little icon right down here. You can also hit N for Survey View. There we go. Fantastic. And I'm going to hit Shift Tab to get rid of my sidebars to help me out during this stage. Now, I'm showing you a bunch of different options on how to do this. You can customize it and make it your own feel. If you want to use the Loupe view and go left and right, you can do that too. Okay, but at this point, I'm looking for my 5-star images. So I'm going to click on this image and I'm going to hit the number 5. And you can see it just said set rating to 5. And right under it, you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but there are 5 stars under that image now. Okay, so I'm clicking on the images, just kind of comparing them to the lot of the rest of the images. There we go. And going through and giving my 5 stars. I like that image too. So that's going to get a 5-star. Fantastic. Now let's go back to our grid view. I'm going to hit Shift Tab, and that's going to bring my sidebars back. So you can see I gave a few of them 5 stars. They're right here under each of the photos. Boop, boop, boop. Those are all 5 stars. And I was kind of comparing images with each other. So let's do the next round here. I'm going to hit Shift, click on the next round, and hit N for Survey View. Let's hit Shift Tab to get our sidebars gone. And I'm going to do 5 stars on a couple of these too. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I already have one that's similar to this. Let's go back to our grid view and hit Shift Tab to get back to our images. So you can see these first 2 rows, I've chosen my 5 stars, okay? And now let's go ahead and finish up. So I'm going to click on this image and I'm going to hold Shift and we're going to go to the last one and I'll hit N for Survey View. We'll hit Shift Tab to get rid of my sidebars again. So that's getting a 5-star because who doesn't want a little bit of that in their life? That's beautiful. That's beautiful. There we go. Cool. So a lot of those you can see got 5 stars as well. So let's go ahead and hit G for our grid view and Shift Tab to bring our sidebars back again. So you can see I gave quite a bit of those images 5 stars because a lot of these images are awesome. Now in our first round, when I chose my picks, I just used the Loupe view and went left and right to go through my images. This last time we used our survey view to view a bunch of images and I was able to choose my favorites. So you can pick and choose whichever view works best for you. There's really no right or wrong here. Okay, well, we're about ready for step 3. So step 1 was choosing your picks. Step 2 is going to be your star ratings, and step 3 is going to be your color ratings. So before we get into step 3, I need to refine this and just see my stars. Here's how we do it. So we already just showing our flags. I'm still in my attribute menu here. So now I'm going to go, boop, click on my 5 stars, and we can see that our rating is going to be greater than or equal to. Okay, and that's what we want this to be set as. So now I'm seeing just my images that are picked and just my images that are 5 stars. So we're ready for our third round, and that's choosing colors. And again, you can give your images multiple different colors if you want to, but at this point, what I'm trying to do is narrow this down to like just my absolute favorites, okay? So I'm gonna give the color red to my favorite images, and then if I need to go through one more step from that, I can do that as well. So at this point, we can, of course, just go to our grid view, and I could just click on a couple of these and make them red, or I could go to my Loupe view and click left and right and make them red, or I could even compare multiple photos by clicking on our compare view and seeing which one is better and then flagging that red. But I'm a big fan of this survey view. So I'm gonna hit Control or Command A for all of these, and then I'm gonna hit N on my keyboard for survey. We'll hit Shift Tab to get everything away. Boom, gone with you. Okay, so now I have a couple of things that I can do with this view. I love survey view. I think it's incredibly useful and a little bit overlooked. So if you hover over any one of your images, you'll see this little X right next to it. Okay, so if I click that X, boom, you can see it goes away and everything reorganizes. Now, if you do it on accident, no big deal. You can hit Control or Command Z and it'll bring it back. Okay? You can also hit Control or Command and click on any one of your images and then it'll go away. So at this point, what I want to do is give some things a color rating, but first I want to get rid of everything that I'm not like crazy wild about. Okay? These two are relatively similar. This one has a surfer in it, so that one's going to go away. Just hold Control or Command and remove it. Okay? Now, all of these photos are actually really great. Okay? It's not, it's kind of a hard set of choices, but that's the whole deal, right? We want to make sure of these two shots. I kind of like the food shot a little bit. That shot is super, super cool. These are all looking great. And maybe remove that one. Okay, I'm not so wild about the coloring on that one, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove that one. This is kind of similar to some of the others, so I'm gonna remove this one too. And let's see. Yeah, all of these shots are absolutely stunning. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is give all of these a color rating. And your colors, you can use 6 through 9 on your keyboard to give different color ratings. So I'm gonna hit the number 6 to make these red. And you can see I have a little red, there we go, icon, boop, on these. Fantastic. And all of these are now flagged with red. So let's hit G for our grid view again and hit Shift Tab to get everything back. Okay, so now here on the attribute tag, I've got everything flagged, I've got my picks, and then I've got my reds. Just click on this little thing, and it's just gonna show you everything that's tagged with red. So you can see how easy that was to narrow my images down. Doing it in multiple different steps just allows you to compare images with each other and choose your favorites at each of the different steps. Now, if I wanna see all of my images again, it's really easy to do. I can just turn off my boop, turn off my red, turn off my stars, and then turn off my flags. And look, this is all my images again. The nice thing about doing your culling in this manner is that even if you're not turning all your filters on, I can still see that this is a red image. And because I know that, 3 steps down was me choosing images that are red, all of these red images are pretty much gonna be my favorites, okay? And in fact, I could just say, hey, just show me the color red, and I'm gonna like those. So for this method, we broke everything down into 3 different steps. But if you need another step at the end, that's totally cool. You can just use a different color rating to do that. So we'll show you how to do it. For instance, right here on the very bottom, we have our sorting. So I'm going to sort, right now it's just by capture time, which is totally cool. I'm going to go to label color. So it's going to go ahead and sort everything by label color, showing me all my red stuff first. So let's go ahead and hit Shift and click on all those. I'm going to hit N for my survey view. And now I'm going to just choose my absolute favorites. Those, instead of being red, which I hit number 6 to get to, I'm going to hit the number 7, boop, and then they're going to go to yellow. So I'm going to say, that is my favorite, that's my favorite, that's my favorite, that one, and that one. Okay, so now I've tagged these as my favorites, giving them a yellow rating. Let's go back to our grid view, and now I can see that some of them are in fact yellow. So if I want to find now by yellow, I know these are my absolute favorites of the absolute favorites. So it allows me to add multiple more steps if I need to. And there we go. That's our culling process. I've used this exact same process to go from thousands and thousands of images down to a select view. So as long as you've got it in multiple different steps, you're good to go. Now, I want to show you a smart collection that you can do that'll actually bring images together based on the criteria that you've chosen. For instance, if it's a pic or a star, things like that. So we'll just put this back to sort by capture time, which is how it was originally sorted, and we're good to go. Let's take a look at our collections. Obviously, we made these earlier in our last video, but we haven't taken a look at our smart collections. So here in our smart collections, let's go ahead and open that up and look at this. These are already loaded in with Lightroom. So for instance, we have colored red. We have all of our 5-star images. We can see images, video files, recently modified. And now I want to go ahead and add my own smart collection. I want to see images that are 5 stars, that are red, or that are yellow. So let's go ahead and check this out. Here are my collections. I'm going to click plus. We're going to go to a smart collection. We're just going to call this faves. Perfect. Now you have all kinds of options you can choose here. You can choose to match all of the following rules. You can choose this based on things like the date, the camera information, the camera serial number, the focal length, all kinds of cool stuff. But let's go ahead and choose rating. We're going to be greater than or equal to 5 stars. Then we're going to go ahead and choose our label color is going to be red. Let's just pop another one there. Rating color, label color is yellow. And then here I'm going to say match any of these different rules. So let's go ahead and create there and check that out. So we have our faves. I can see everything that is 5 stars and everything that is either red or yellow. Now, if I want to edit that, I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to edit. And I'm going to say, you know what? This time I want to say all. So match all of these things. And we're going to remove our reds. Boop. Because our yellows, that was like our most selects, right? That was actually our 4th round. So let's go ahead and hit save, and boom, I'm seeing just my images that are yellow and 5 stars. So this is super handy because if you decide to basically use the same process every time you cull through your photos, then you can create these smart collections that are actually going to work across your entire catalog. For instance, every single photo shoot that you did, if you did pics, and then 5 stars, and then let's say you made everything red that was your absolute favorite, well, then you could have one smart collection that would automatically show all of your favorites from all of your photo shoots. So these smart collections are incredibly useful, and you can put so many different types of criteria in there. They really make culling down your images much more simple. So we're almost done. The last thing I want to do is show you how to search through your images and find more information based on the metadata. So we're going to go back up to capture, and then here at the very top, we're going to look at our library filter and click on text. Okay, just remember view, make sure show filter bar is checked. So this text is incredibly powerful. You can search for all types of different things in different fields. So for instance, you could say any searchable field, or you could do like copy name or caption or keywords and things like that. Okay, let's just do any searchable field. You can contains all, contains some words, start with, ends with, things like that. So let's go ahead and say contains all, and I'm just going to type in the number 33 here. Okay, so anything that has 33 in it is going to automatically pop up. And here we have, this is intro to Lightroom 33.jpg. Now, this is incredibly useful because oftentimes I'm sending my images to my clients, I'm asking them to tell me their favorites, and basically I'll just have them write a list of the file names. So when they send that back, I need to search for those file names again. I'm not just going to scroll endlessly through all my files. I'll simply type it right here. Or if I did any type of naming conventions, things like that, I can type it right here and it's going to show me exactly what I need to find. You can even do this to find different file extensions. So for instance, if I go to text, any searchable field, if I just type in PSD right there, boom, I've got my PSDs showing up. I don't even have to know where they are in all my folder structures. Instantly, I'm going to see all of my PSDs. So this text filter is really, really powerful. Now, the last one is metadata. Check this out. So we're going to go back here to capture. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and close down that text field, and we're going to go to metadata. Now, this is incredibly cool. All of these are stock images, and a lot of like the, aperture and ISO and shutter speed, it's actually not in these images, but when you bring in your own photos from your camera, you'll be able to find all that information here. So within your metadata, you can say, for instance, your different file types. So if I want to say my file types, let's just go back here. Okay, file types. Okay, here I can see all my JPEGs or Photoshop documents really, really easily. Okay, I can actually change all these things too. So where it says lens right there, I can change this to basically any one of my different labels. So again, if you're shooting with your own photographs, you're gonna have things like your camera serial number in there, your ISO, your aperture, and things like that. So you could say, hey, just show me the things that are aperture 2.8, and just those will pop up. In this case, we can go to rating, and I could say, show me the things that are 5 stars. Okay, and here we see them. And then I could also say, show me the things that are red. And then in this case, also just show me the PSDs. So using this metadata is another way where you can filter across multiple different spectrums really, really easily. Again, just another way to view your images after you've gone through your culling process. Hey, I'm recording a tutorial. I was just talking on a phone on my watch. How crazy is that? Technology. Well, that's all there is to choosing your favorite images in Lightroom. Now, when it comes to editing your images, if you want an incredibly simple way to create beautiful looks, Lightroom presets are definitely the way to go. And we have a free sample 10-pack that you can get, download, and use on any one of your images. All you have to do is click on the link right down below, or put it on your screen right now as well. It's available on Phlearn.com. And for Phlearn Pro subscribers, they get instant access to our entire library of Lightroom presets, not to mention Photoshop actions and every pro tutorial we've ever made. But you can get that free sample 10-pack right now. Just follow the link right down below. Thanks so much. I'll Phlearn you later. Bye, everyone.